This week we're talking about knocking out negativity. Now that's a bit of a twist because we're always used to bringing you guys a positive message, and you guys can be sure that we're going to do that this week as well. Guys, my name's Colton Woods with Colton Woods Horsemanship, and welcome back to our Monday morning motivation series. Here we believe that horsemanship is not just a way to train a horse, but it is everything we do with our horses and in our own lives. Now that's super important because a lot of us always want to maximize our communication, our connection, our performance with our horses. But first and foremost, before we can get to doing that with our horses, we have to do that with ourselves first. Now, the power of positivity is a saying and a phrase that we hear over and over and over to the point that it can almost get redundant. But how many of us we've heard the concept of manifesting, think of something, living something out before it's actually happened in preparation for that event to take place. A lot of us have had this happen in positive ways, but more of us, the way the human brain is wired is that we remember those negative memories, those negative emotions, those negative feelings way more than we do the positive ones, because the negative is way more powerful than the positive. Now, how powerful is that? I want to share with you guys some facts that I have here in my journal this week. And the fact they've done studies on this from the Mayo Clinic with some high performance coaches that have specialized in high-end businesses as well as in professional athletes. And I hope that this would connect into the equestrian world as well, hence why I want to share it with you this week. Guys, a negative thought in itself is 4 to 7 times more powerful than a positive thought. Now, that's just the thought of it, right? So if you're thinking about something negative, that thought is 4 to 7 times more powerful than the positive thought. Why is that important? Because if we even think about something, how much work do we have to do on the other side of the coin, on the positive side, to overcome those negative thoughts? Now, the first thing we have to do is be aware of these negative thoughts, build our self-awareness, and then hold ourselves responsible for these negative thoughts, because these thoughts become our feelings and our feelings become our reality. And so if these thoughts are 4 to 7 times more powerful in a negative sense than the positive, then that can float into 4 to 7 times more of an emotional response, which then creates a 4 to 7 times more strengthening of the reality in a negative way. And that's something that we don't want in our lives. But this percentage only increases because how many times have you had a negative thought, maybe just a simple kind of road rage type of thing, or when someone says something to you and it really makes you mad, pisses you off, those thoughts then sometimes become words that come out of our mouth. Now, then it gets even stronger, because if a negative thought is 4 to 7 times more powerful than a positive thought, then speaking a negative thought increases the reality of that happening by 40 to 70%. Now, that is straight up from the Mayo Clinic studies that have done this, and they've used this with teams like the Alabama Crimson Tide, Georgia Bulldogs, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and all these other professional teams out there. They've used these statistics helping people realize, because quite frankly, we're tired of hearing about the power of positivity, because a lot of us remember those negative emotions. And I want to share these statistics with you because we have all had, probably today already, had negative emotions or negative thought process, maybe about ourselves or about something, a situation that we're dealing with, or someone else that we've had to encounter already this Monday morning. And we have to make sure that we're getting these thoughts under control, because when those thoughts become words, they're 40 to 70 times more. They've become 40 to 70 times, increases the reality of them happening by 40 to 70%. Now, I can personally share a story with y'all. A lot of times I find that when I'm teaching other people, I'm trying to build their awareness of the positive and the negatives of what can happen. Now, a lot of times when I share the positives, sometimes those things happen. I'm like, hey, this horse is about to soften in this area, and the horse sometimes does it, right? But other times, just recently, if I'm having to catch a colt and I'm having to rope them in the round pen, or if I'm doing a saddling for the first time and people are there watching to learn, a lot of times I'll say, hey, when you're going through this moment here, you want to make sure you're not standing between the fence and the horse, because sometimes they can get a little tight and it's a bad place to be. That's a real life scenario that happened just within the last 3 weeks. And sure enough, as I'm talking about this, and in my heart, I'm not really worried about this happening with this horse, because this horse has been prepared. But because those words came out of my mouth, I would only believe that I manifested that. And that horse did get a little tight when I went to cinch him up, and I was standing between the fence. So it wasn't a very good feeling. But the thing is that it's those thoughts, when you put them into words, becomes 40 to 70% more likely. Now, we're working with animals, we're working with horses that are so intuitive to what is going on. So it's all the more important that we harness our ability to be in control of our thoughts. And just earlier this weekend, I shared a concept because meditation is a great way to bring ourselves back to center. And a lot of times people think that we meditate to control our thoughts. But in fact, we don't meditate to control our thoughts. We meditate so that our thoughts don't control us. Okay? And so that's where it starts. This week, guys, when you go on, remember, you can think about the positive, but also we have to build our awareness on the negativity. We have to build our awareness on how many negative thoughts are you having a day. And maybe you keep track of those. Every time you have a negative thought, I've heard of people taking pebbles and putting them from one pocket to the next, or you have a little journal like this and you write them down. And you say, and you might fill up an entire 2 pages before lunchtime. But it's important that we go through the week and we start to build our self-awareness on the negativity, because if we build our self-awareness, then we can start to create the plans on how to fix these things, because it's so powerful, right? The power of positivity is super powerful. If we can manifest the positivity into our life, then that is crucial. That is the way that we can get where we need to be. But first, if we are dealing with negative emotions, we have to knock those out, because those negative emotions, one negative emotion or one negative thought process is so much more powerful than a positive one, just because of the way our brains are wired. And so we have to harness those. We have to get those under control. We have to build the self-awareness, and then we have to put the plans in place to take care of those, to eliminate those from our lifestyle, and create a more positive environment within ourselves first, so that we can maximize our communication, our understanding, our intentionality, our presence, our performance with ourselves, so that we can start to see those same things in our horses. So guys, I hope you found this Monday Morning Motivation insightful and helpful this week. We greatly appreciate y'all tuning along with the Colton Woods Horsemanship, either here on the Heart of Horsemanship podcast, following us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can find us at Colton Woods Horsemanship on all those platforms. Guys, be sure, if you found this helpful this week to get your week started, be sure to share this with a friend. If you found us on the Heart of Horsemanship, go down below, leave that 5-star rating, write us a review. That's how more people can find us here on the Heart of Horsemanship, as well as on our Colton Woods Horsemanship pages. We greatly appreciate y'all tuning along with us this week. We look forward to connecting with you throughout the rest of the week. So you always go out there, have a blessed one, share this with your friends. We'll catch you next time.